I think the why is one of the most overlooked things in politics about what drives us and why we make the decisions we do. And I think you have a pretty special why about why you got into politics. Will you share it with us?
Sure. That's when our daughter, John, and my daughter, Abigail, was born, and she was really sick. I was at a law firm at the time, and she couldn't swallow the night she was born. And they did all these tests, and she ended up having to have a tube through her nose for about 6 months, and then a stomach tube for another year. And it was really, really hard. But and then she eventually got better. And when two things came out of that. Once I got involved in groups of parents with kids with disabilities, even though she didn't end up with a permanent disability, but it changed my whole mindset about what these parents are going through. And then the other thing was that when I was in the hospital, I got kicked out, and that was when you got kicked out in 24 hours. She was literally in intensive care.
Wow.
She couldn't swallow. They didn't know if she had a tumor. They kept doing all these x-rays, and they just had that rule. As long as I was okay, they were going to kick me out. I'd been up the whole 24 hours. And as my husband wheeled me out of the hospital, I go, I bet this wouldn't happen to, because at the time, all the insurance executives were men. So at the time, I said, this would not have happened to the wife of the insurance executive. And so I ended up, she got a little better. We still were in a hard place, but the other people had the same experience in my state. And so on a bipartisan basis, Democrats, Republicans, I ended up testifying for this 48-hour hospital stay. And our state was one of the first states that did it. And we passed it. And my first experience, which you know so well as a governor, but of a conference committee in the legislature, was they couldn't say they were against it, but they were trying to delay it. And so I brought, I think it was like 4 or 5 pregnant friends to the conference committee because we're all having babies at the time. So they outnumbered the insurance lobbyists who were trying to say this shouldn't take effect for a year or two. And the legislators said, when should this take effect? And all my friends who had think they were going to have a baby any day, they raise their hand and they go, no. They literally had to take effect the next week. That's what happened. So that was my first thing. And then I got hooked on it because you could get something done and it was for the right reason.